Hello everyone, welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. I'm Rebecca Keppel and I'm super excited to be here today to share 3 different cards made with die cut inlay techniques using the Slimline Sweetheart panel die. So the first thing I did was cut 2 of those Sweetheart panel dies out of 110 pound white cardstock. I'm using 110 pound because I do want them to stand out quite a bit. So I am going to use tape runner to adhere the 2 panels together just to layer them up. You could use liquid glue. I prefer to use tape runner here so that there's no drying time involved. I'm also going to use tape runner on the back of those panel dies and just get a little bit everywhere. This is not going to be as important because the next thing we're going to do is put rows and rows of tape runner, and this is where it's really kind of more useful to have tape runner onto that white card base panel there. And then I'm going to lay the layered die cuts on top. And I didn't layer them perfectly straight. That's okay. I'm going to just put my scissors underneath the panel and then trim off that little line. So now I have exposed adhesive in all of those open heart die cuts. So I take the positive pieces that I die cut and had set aside, and I'm using the Trinity Stamps Blending Buddy brushes to ink blend the colors of the rainbow on these hearts. So I counted the hearts to see how many Roy G. Biv combinations I could fit, and I needed 4 of each of them and 5 of the pinks. So I'm using Distress Oxide inks to blend my hearts. These are my favorite colors of the rainbow in those Distress Oxide colors with that new Kitsch Flamingo pink there, which I think looks really, really nice in the rainbow. So that's how this one ended up. I am actually going to add a heart of vellum on it, and the way that I'm adhering the vellum is to add the vellum to some Thermoweb Easy Cut thin adhesive sheet on the back of the vellum there, and then I'm going to die cut the Trinity Stamps Nested Hearts die. This way, when I take out my die cut heart, all I have to do is peel off the protective backing, and there's adhesive all over it, and you can't see the adhesive. I did the same thing with the hearts and some gold foil and adhered that down around the vellum. For the next card, I cut a piece of the same 110 pound white cardstock to just slightly larger than the die itself, than that Sweetheart panel die, and I'm going to blend the rainbow right on this strip of cardstock. So I'm just going to use the same colors that I did before. I'm not super concerned with a straight line of color. I kind of want them almost to look like colorful puffy clouds, and I love using blending brushes for that technique. So now I'm moved on to the Squeeze Lemonade there, and you can see there's little puffs of color that blend together. There's little bits of white that I don't completely cover up. That is that organic look that sometimes I really like. I felt like the green was kind of getting lost with the yellow. So I was using Twisted Citron with the Squeeze Lemonade, and I felt like they were just too close of colors so that you couldn't really see the difference between them. So I decided to move on to Mowed Lawn instead. And now I am doing the blue, which is Tumbled Glass. And this time I have room, so I'm actually going to add purple as well. I'm going to use Shaded Lilac for the last color there. Now, of course, because I made this a little bit larger, the top and the bottom is going to get cut off a little bit, but you're going to get to see all of these colors, which I really like. Once that was done, I decided to add some droplets of water using my Distress sprayer there. So I just spritzed on some water and then tapped it dry with a microfiber towel, just so that you get those little bit of oxidation effects from the Distress Oxide ink and kind of adds a little bit of the water droplet look to it. I placed that blended panel in my Gemini sandwich and then placed the Slimline Sweetheart panel die right on top, just making sure that you could see pink through the purple in those heart little windows there. And then I ran that through my die cut machine. Now I am placing tape runner on the back of the rainbow panel. Again, just a little bit of tape runner everywhere to hold it in place. And I'm going to adhere it down to a white card base underneath it. And I actually just like the way that looks right there. I think that's super awesome to have that rainbow with that white contrast is really pretty. But I really wanted to do something a little bit different this time. So what I decided to do was to take one of each of the hearts in the center row. It doesn't matter as long as you have the basic colors. It doesn't matter which one you grab, and pop it up on foam tape. So this is a different kind of sort of die cut inlay, but it's die cut popped up inlay. And I like the different look to this as well. So this one is using both the negative and some of the positives, but I'm going to save the rest of those positive hearts for the next card. Okay, for the next card, I once again die cut the Slimline Sweetheart panel die out of white cardstock. And again, this time I am going to place a bunch of tape runner down on the card base that I'm using there, which is just slightly smaller than the panel that I've cut. This way, when I lay it down, nothing hangs out the side, but there's exposed adhesive in all the hearts. This time I'm doing the rainbow, but I'm alternating between a color and then the white from the ones that we just die cut. It's just another way to use up some of those colorful rainbow hearts, which were so pretty. I love them so much. And to use up some of the white hearts as well. Anything that's left over, I would just put in the back of my die pocket to save it for next time, because you can see these can be a lot of fun. You can put together multiple cards in one sitting really quickly and easily. So that's the last die cut inlay that we're going to do there. So this is all three cards together, all three backgrounds together, and now it's just time to add some sentiments. To create the sentiments, I'm going to use the Joyful Heart stamp set and matching dies. I think this is a super cute set and I really like the sentiments in there. So I put them all in my MISTI. I have them kind of spread out and I'm stamping them with black ink because the matching dies for the stamp set also comes with dies for the sentiments. So this is a really nice way to be able to add dimension behind your sentiments and not to have them in strips. So I'm temporarily placing the dies and adhering them with some purple tape, and then I'm cutting really thin strips of foam tape with some nonstick scissors so that I can pop up those sentiments there. And that just miscalculated a little bit on the length there, but again, just some nonstick scissors, and then just peel off that protective backing and place it right on top of our vellum and gold heart. I love how through the vellum you can see the inked hearts in the back. This is one of my favorites, I think. So for the next one, I used 3 of the sentiments. I did the XOXO again so that I could put them on those hearts in the middle. And then for the last one, I combined the long sentiment that says, "You bring joy to my heart," and then "love ya" also. So these are just 3 quick and easy cards with lots of die cut inlay and pretty rainbows of Distress Oxide ink using that Trinity Stamps Slimline Sweetheart panel die. If you're interested in checking out the Trinity Stamps and dies and tools that I used today, they will be linked down below. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.